GNL, eh.
Hey.
What's happening? What's happening? Her Ninjaness, the one and only.
Hi, G.
I'm good. Is
GNL.
is the volume good enough, or do I need to turn it up?
Yo, I can hear you pretty clearly. Can you
Okay,
hear
cool.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you pretty
Mic
well.
check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
My check 1 2 1 2. Faba chakazabuli 1 2. Yeah, Faba chakazabuli 1 2. Oh my God.
So you decided to kick it off like that. Like you were like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in, remind the people who I am.
No, I think it's just because of quarantine that you sit and you sit with these thoughts, and then you begin thinking about. Give me just a second. Just a second. Stay on right now. I have so much. I just realized I need to plug my computer in. Just 1 second. So you're going to be hearing my voice. I'm not going away. I'm not going anywhere.
Give us some power. Give us some power.
I'm going to give you some power because this is going to be a very long and interesting conversation. Hopefully. So I'm excited for this. Yeah.
Now, why I was referring to that phrase "power" is, so I was telling you guys, GNL is one of the day ones of UG music hip hop. Like, if you're looking at day ones of UG music hip hop, you can't speak of everyone else and not talk about GNL, right?
Yeah.
Greatness with no limits.
Yes.
That's what you came and you did. In case you guys were always what GNL means.
Greatness with no limits. Yes. And
right.
and that name is so philosophical, and it's so central to I think anybody can achieve GNL, if I'm to put it that way, that you can find a greatness within you that has no limit. And it's the same principle that that you would say the Hindus and the Buddhists, those are the fundamentals of their belief, basically, where you reach enlightenment. You get me? Reaching your enlightenment. And when it comes to...
You're trying to tell me that GNL is a mindset. GNL
oh, it's a philosophy. Yes, thank you very much. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it, my sister. We've had these conversations before. You know what's up, but it is a philosophy that at the highest level of self-expression, you achieve greatness of no limit. So self, how do we begin defining what self is? Do you know what self is when you're talking about self? Self is that thing within you that is not selfish, that is godlike, that creative energy that you speak to, that speaks thoughts to you. You get me?
Right.
So when you express that, the more you express that, you become great with no limit, just like your creator, just like the universe. It's greatness of no limit. And I say it's GNL.
I just have to shout out. Sorry to cut you short.
Oh yeah, for real.
So many amazing people on here, and they joined, and they're just so eager to hear what you're saying. My husband is actually watching.
Oh yeah, shout out to him.
And Sabrisi of Kwanzaa, you know, those are my girls. Kwanzaa UG, Sabrina and Maritza, and they were super excited. They were like, "Go ahead, do it." And I was like, "Okay, guys, so who's the person? Who should I talk to?" They were like, "Gee, it's your birthday, and he has so much to say. He's philosophical." You know, one thing I remember about you, G, especially when I used to work with Tuesday, is you teach people how to read. Because Trill never used to read. In case you want to meet Big Trill, Kaiser, one of the biggest thinkers these days, he never used to read. And then he started hanging out with you.
Yeah.
For entertainment. And suddenly he'd come and he was like, "I'm reading this new book."
Yes.
By so and so. I've learned that, you know, it's teaching me this. So
yeah, because
what impact does reading have on your music?
Oh, that's a very brilliant. Oh, so that's how we're doing it. We're doing it like a professional interview.
No, you know, some people out here are trying to find out some things about you. So while me and you are going to conversate, I'm going to keep dropping in some questions.
Yeah, for real. I really appreciate that. So I should say that what makes a great MC is how much knowledge you have in your head. or how observant you
Right.
are or how observant you are of your circumstances. You cannot be a great MC when you're not a great observer, or if you don't have the depth of knowledge, if you're not aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
So I think the very first book, the very first person who put a book in front of me made me discover. I fell in love with books and stories before I even tried rapping or writing any poetry, because I loved stories. And when I discovered a rapper called
Yeah.
Nas, it was more like he was so descriptive of where he was living that I could see it without even being there. He would be like, broken glass in the hallway, blood-stained floors, neighbors, look at every bag you bring to
Yeah.
your door. Very descriptive, that's what you see it. So I began diving into what rappers were talking about, so that I discover what informed their beliefs and what concepts that they were thinking about. And I stumbled, and then I became a rapper myself. You get me? Because you in knowledge, Africans became some of the greatest human beings ever in the world, because
Right.
because they were the first people to ever write, they were the first people to ever paint, they were the first people to ever document. So all that knowledge made their first empires great.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you froze on me.
Yeah.
You froze on me a little bit. Sorry, I didn't get the question. Hellos?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Now?
Yeah, a little bit in and out, but
Someone was.
hold on a second. Let me. Oh yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi, so I don't know why
Can
it's.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you better now.
Okay, so Uganda, one thing we're still struggling with about. Can you hear me? Someone was asking, what's your.
Oh, I don't know.
Is that better?
Let me see. Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on cellular data?
I was on cellular, but I've just switched to Wi-Fi.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. This is much better. Even the picture is great. So I missed like 5 minutes. I don't know, 5 minutes or a minute of it. So let's get back into it.
Right. So as we were talking about books
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of reading,
Yes.
Sabrina was like, what is your favorite book, or which are your favorite books?
You know what? I love books about history, but I'm not going to go so much into that because I'm going to sound like when people get to know me, they say I'm a geek. You get me? I'm a geek for things. You get me?
Right.
So I will not get into that.
Yeah.
I will not get into that. But lately,
Okay, just give me top 5.
oh my God, it's hard to find a top 5 when there are so many wonderful books. I'm reading a book called Invisible Man right now, and it's a novel about about African American, the African American experience. I'm reading
Right.
there's a book I'm going to recommend to any person who has ever lived in Uganda and you're going to go live in America or abroad. That book is by an African writer. She's a woman who's a very, very brilliant writer. She's called Ngozi Chimamanda Adichie, and the book is called Americana. I wish
Yeah, I've read that.
yeah, I wish I'd read that book the very first day I arrived in America. I discovered it
Really?
like, yeah, it's a very brilliant book. It describes the experience, the African American experience in so much detail. It's so straight and it's so on point.
Okay. Now I feel like you really fast forwarded forward to one of the things that I wanted to talk about, which was obviously the situation and everything that's going on in the US right now, and worldwide really, because now that has spilled over and everyone is joining the same movement. But let's just take a step back, right? Let's take a step back. GNL starts reading, gets open to the possibility of the different realities out there.
Yeah.
Gets onto a rapper like Nas.
This was in my S. That was in my S2. S2 is when I did all that.
In your S2.
Yes.
Okay. You listen to Nas, but what pushes you from being someone who listens to the music to someone who now writes the music? What was that thing that pushed you and you are like, you know what, I can make music?
So I'm going to tell you a story. One time, as I'm so much into Nas and I'm passionate about New York hip hop, I was an East Coaster. I love Tupac, but I was an East Coaster straight up. You get me? I listened to East Coast.
Which is ironic because do you not live in the West Coast now?
To live and die in LA. I love that. That's one of the songs that made me want to live in. That song made me want. No, that song made me want to live in. When Tupac was talking about living and dying in LA, that video, I was like, I must go see what LA is like, man. I must go see what that is. But to cut the long story short, so one time we had a talent show at school. I was in Chira College Boutique, and this guy decides to jump on stage and mime a Nas song, right? So I'm at the back, I'm usually quiet and I'm like watching, but it's like, oh, Nas, standing on top of the table and we're watching, like holding onto windows. Boutique was crazy. So he begins butchering the lyrics. You get me? So so I was so pissed. Word by word, like I even into the semantics of what they were talking about, and I was like, bro, just get the fuck off the stage. So yeah, so I began dissing the guy so hard that the guy was like, okay, if you think that you can rap, come over here and rap. I was like, oh shit, okay, let's see. So I grabbed the mic for the very, very first time, and I've never switched since that. I think I tested what fame was like, but on the deeper sense, I should say, I did become an artist then, because then I did a Nas song. But I became an artist when I began listening to myself, the self that we were talking about, the greatness of No Limits. We cut ourselves short because we had to big up somebody. But I usually say my name as GNL, Greatness with No Limits. The legend. The legend, not meaning that I'm calling myself a legend, but legend is also an equivocal word that also means the story of Zamba. So it's Greatness of No Limits, the story of Zamba. Zamba meaning, in Congolese, it means a forest. You get me? My grandma has some roots in Congo, so she carried that name, and that name means rainmaker. You get me? So Zamba means like a forest, and I'm like, oh, that's really dope. But to the local people over there, which is where most of Uganda even immigrated from, it's from that basin. She carried that name to mean that name means a forest. So I was like, Baboon Forest. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm digressing a lot, but I'm breaking down the philosophy of what makes the strength in the name and the words behind the name have so much to do with you as an artist and what philosophy you're going to live up to.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, because even like as a mom and like even before this, a lot of parents, talk about
yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah.
What are you watching? What was that?
That was the news that popped up.
What are you watching right now?
That was the news that popped up. Like this TV just switched itself on for some reason. Like I'm always watching news, I'm always watching series. So I'm in the den right now, the TV room, and that's usually where I hide from everybody.
make sure that they pick like a suitable name for you based on what they want you to become.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and that is true about the power of a name. You know,
Oh,
the name
yeah.
you give your child, kind of
Ooh.
like the name she'll
Oh,
do.
yes, yes. So,
And
sorry,
if you give your child a bad name,
sorry to cut you short. Sorry to cut you short, but we as Africans, the very first thing we must do to emancipate ourselves is to drop names like Cynthia and names like Ernest. You get me? But Ernest, it has nothing to do with me. But when you call me Nsimbi, I'm like, oh damn, that name is like generations of my ancestry. So yeah, for us continuing to call ourselves by these Western names is spitting into our ancestors' faces and disrespecting their history. That's why it's better for me to be called people. When people call me Nsimbi or Zamba or GNL, the name that I chose for myself, it's like liberation and activism to begin claiming the power beyond our own power. What you call people either oppresses them or uplifts them. And names in Africa are designed in such a way that they tell your own story before the day you're born. They give you these names so that they define your story and what your legend is going to be in life. So how do you dare disrespect that and call yourself Cynthia? That means there's a disconnect between the self, the real self that you are, that created you, and the people that colonized you. So you've chosen your colonizers instead of choosing your own people. I digress. I don't mean to preach though. So.
No, but you know, that's really important information to pass on, especially during this period where we're trying to get Black emancipation movement going and just kind of, you know, empower everyone to.
Yeah, I'm still sanitizing.
Yo, if you know that's the thing. Like obviously now life is kind of normalizing or getting back to what we were used to.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get that we're in a pandemic, but if you're out there, please keep washing your hands, you know, keep sanitizing. If you need to go into public, wear that mask, and also just generally avoid crowds, because you never know. You can't know, you know, where someone has been, or you know.
Oh yeah, and people are relaxing so much. People are becoming so relaxed with what's going on. I see people protesting but without masks on, or when they're giving a speech, like the disease worries about whether you're going to look nice when you're in a hospital. Then they put their masks down when they're having interviews and things like that. We should really take this seriously. I completely disappeared from public the moment they said the disease is here. So I was actually, let me tell you a story. I was in Muyenga, right? Muyenga. Nali Muyenga, eh? Not I was in Muyenga. Nali Muyenga. So me and my partner were like, do you know what? We've never really gone down to that quarry, eh? I bet there's something dope down there. So we drove. I've never been to the actual quarry. I usually just pass it. So I went down to the quarry and I first met these little boys, like really young, yeah? And they're looking at me like I'm some strange kind of person. It reminded me of the feeling that I used to have when I used to watch like my uncles or some cousins, like they are really tall and big and they have all this hair. So these kids are like, Alina Negundi. So they were commenting about my hair and my tail. So I call them and then we begin having conversations. I'm like, Okolachi. I even posted the video. They're like, I work here. I'm like, you work? How old are you? So the kid is like, I'm 8, the other one was 13. But down there in that Chirombe is a very good artist. We discovered an artist that makes sculptures.
Right.
So we go into there, Natugamba. This is where I get the material. It's much easier to work in here. The water is there, the concrete, I just mix it up. Basically, see a space, see a studio. Look at what's around it. The place is beautiful. So as we are down there...
So the kids were working for him or for the quarry?
No. The kids were working for the quarry. They're working for their parents. Because in Africa, every kid helps out here and there. Whatever. So as we are down there, I'm having a conversation with this dude, and I'm like, dude, why don't you have a Facebook page? People can buy this stuff. So it's like, you know what? I'm trying to find a space, but I'm like, forget the space. People can order this stuff online. So we're starting to have a conversation, and my partner is taking pictures. She's like, "Oh my god, the beautiful stone! You know the what?" I'm like, having a conversation with this dude, and she's taking pictures of the sculptures. She's like, "My god, this looks like those Olmec statues. It's very is Africans Zibakoreda, like back in the ancient statues." So this guy tells me, I'm like, so what are you doing to prepare yourself for this COVID situation in case it comes to Uganda? It's like, guy wange, olchala uzamuno COVID imbo is still far. It's already here. So I'm like, yeah, I need to put this off. I need to put this off.
I had so many people when the corona pandemic started and got really serious and was spreading rapidly.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah.
begin this half hour with new criticism of the president's rhetoric on nationwide protest.
We already got sick because in December there was a period where everyone had serious colds and some people were being hospitalized. They're like, look, we got corona long ago. They're probably infected people in the community already.
Yeah. So
but people seemed like relaxed. They thought, we are strong, we are good, we'll fight it off.
There was a lot of misinformation going on. Sorry about that. So this dude tells me, when Ochalo was a corona is corona is already here. I'm like, how sure? He was like, I have a friend who works at IHK Yao Pumpye. He's like, this friend told me that there have been people who are sick are just being put in ambulances and taken to some other location. I'm like, are you kidding? That must be some false information. But I was like, oh shit. When we were coming, we saw some Chinese guys who were already wearing masks in their car. They were in their car, it had AC, but they already had masks on. And I'm like, maybe there's some. I was like, maybe there's some game I'm not peeping. I began like distancing a little bit from him. Then I called my partner. I was like, to be one. So that was. I was like, nobody. I told my house help. I briefed her. I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to buy a lot of rice. We're going to buy a lot of spaghetti. Get some beans, avocados. Get a supply at least for a few days. Like we began like stocking up on stuff. Like get sanitizer. Let's get some more soap. Let's get like the moment I had that, I began stocking up on what we need because I have this brain that kind of sees things, dangers. Before other people see them. It's a very paranoid brain. It's good sometimes, but sometimes it's also bad because it leads to anxiety and things like that. But it's very useful for self-preservation. So when I see people who are not taking caution, I'm like, great guy. Yeah.
I know someone exactly like that. Plus, also obviously, female intuition is also a bit like that.
Are you calling me a bitch?
No, not you. I said there are some people who are like that.
I'm playing with you. It's a joke.
But you have to give it up to female intuition. We stay seeing far.
Yeah. My mom has that quality. I think every female knows when you're lying, and I don't know how they're able to tell. There's a secret we need to tap into. Yeah. There's a secret we need to tap into.
But one thing I did want to ask is, how you were talking about customizing your rap experience to the circumstances that are happening around you? Were you able, was this period, because this period allowed most people to slow down, workplaces were closed, malls were closed, cinemas were closed, so all you had to do was basically stay home and, just focus on other things.
Yeah.
Was that a blocker? Or did that actually motivate you? Did you manage to write more things during this period? Projects?
Do you know? I actually don't know. I've written so much that all the time that I've been away of the scene and not doing any music publicly, I've still been writing so much. I write to basically quiet my mind. Because my mind is always busy. It's like the noise. Nas has this saying where he says, "The noise in my head is the curse of the talented." You get me? Like you need
Yeah.
to put something out, you need to write it down. So I either have to be writing on working on a short story, working on a script, working on a poem. Sometimes I'm tweeting, then I realize, oh, this tweet is so good, I need to save it for, I need to save it for something else. And then you realize you've written about 12 pages on what was just meant to be a statement or a tweet. So for me, this period has found me already creating, except that I'm taking this time right now to get some time for myself health wise, and to also start prioritizing better, because we only have 24 hours in the day, and our bodies are limited, that you can only push them to a certain extent. So you have to prioritize and see what projects you can accomplish, what projects you need to delegate to teams and delegate to people. So when we chatted yesterday, it was about 3 a.m., right?
Someone is saying,
Yeah.
someone says, the noise in your head is the current of the talent. I think Troy must be like a hip hop fan or a rapper himself.
Oh, Troy, I think he's a hip hop fan.
Yeah.
but it's not the current. It's not the current. It's the curse. It's the curse of the talented. CURSE.
Okay, that's what he's trying to say. Okay.
Yeah.
But so many people bigging you up in the comments. They're saying that jazz is making their day.
Oh, thank you.
Zamba mwana waffe owe Kawempe.
Ochtegera, Kawempe stand up. Oh yeah.
Is that the original hood?
Oh yeah, and I must tell you something. I grew up in Kawempe. I was raised in Kawempe, right? For a very, very long time. Are you there? Hold on. Yeah, I grew up in Kawempe. I was raised in Kawempe, and I think that's the place that made me who I am, because growing up around a lot of crime, a lot of poverty, is what made me who I am right now. Observing those situations is what created the themes for some of my songs, like Ani Aliamani, like KOYIKOYI. I'm waiting for. I can see Ninjaness is having some problems over here with our connectivity. I'm going to wait for her to get back because her screen is frozen. So we can continue with the conversation. But I'm going to take this time to big up some of the people who are joining me, who are online somewhere, who are watching Ninjaness's feed on Instagram. Troy Mochikade, big ups to you. Edna.com, I see you. Topaz.Yusuf, I see you. Hafizagayo Legacy, I see you. Thank you for coming through. People on my Facebook, there are people in my Facebook who are also, I think, listening in or something. Jason Morel, Andy Dale is like Wagwan Papa. I'm waiting for Ninjaness to come back online so we can continue with this conversation. Shout out to everybody who is loving my joints. Dear Hip Hop, I love that joint too. I wrote it during quarantine, so I hope it's taking you through this time, this very confused, tough time. Ooh, I'm drowning in
If you have any questions for G, just feel free to put them in the comments, and I will be answering them as we go along with our general conversation. But yeah, hi everyone, whoever you're watching into it, and I think next time I'm gonna have to like climb a mountain or a treetop just so that we can get proper internet connection. But I have G back, and I'm just waiting for him to come back on.
I'm on right now. Hey, are you good? Are you there? Yeah, we're still sorting out a technical glitch so we can continue with our conversation. Um, Shout outs to everybody that's watching right now. Are you there? Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. The connection, my God.
Yeah, it's African problems, TIA.
I'm telling you, African problems. But you know, we're getting what were we talking about?
I have no idea, but mentioning African problems, what first came to my mind is in the future, a company called Tesla is going to be giving us internet, which is not going to be cable internet, but it's just going to be these boats that just like interconnect, like mini satellites that interconnect over a region. It's going to be fast. It's going to be dope. So
listen,
yeah.
As long as it's affordable and fast, I think Uganda is ready to jump on it. I think.
Yeah, the internet is ruining it. The internet is trying to ruin our conversation.
I think. Yeah, I'm telling you. I think once we get fast internet that's affordable, I think it's even like one of the things that hinders content creators here. Because in the last 2 years, I've been trying to do content creation with my two friends, Maritza and Sabrina. And one of the biggest issues we have is...
That was Marissa, Sabrina, Cynthia, Brenda.
I mean, you already advised us that going forward, we should name our children names that should actually empower us.
No, I mean...
So, my next baby is probably going to have a name like...
But Twakashabaruhanga ya to work with...
Anyway, but yeah, so content creators, one of the biggest issues they have is you obviously want to put your content and make it more accessible to people. Say, for example, put it on YouTube or put it on other online platforms. But then the biggest worry is always, do people have the data, to watch? And maybe they actually want to watch, but 5 minutes, 15 minutes in, like so much data has gone, and they're like, "Is this really worth it?" So you find that they are prevented from actually being really great entertainment because of that. And in a way, it kind of demoralizes content creators such as us, because we're like, okay, I guess we are going to stick with the mainstream TV and radio until internet catches on here. So eventually it does impact, so hopefully one day this will improve. But going back to, the earlier we were talking, I picked up kind of how you came up with Baboon Forest Entertainment, which is actually something that I wanted to always ask you, because I was like, okay, Baboon makes sense, because knowing your philosophical mind, you're like, oh, we evolved from apes into, humans.
That's close. It's close. Keep going. Keep going. It's close. It's close.
And then I was like, but why do the baboons have to be in a forest? And I think you kind of explained that with Zamba, which you said is Congolese for forest, right?
Zamba means Zamba means forest, basically, but in the deeper sense it means rainmaker. So you're talking about explaining what Baboon Forest is, the philosophy behind Baboon Forest?
Yeah, and what motivated you to say, you know what, I'm GNL, I'm an individual, but I feel like it needs to be a group. It needs to be, it needs to be an empire. It needs to be bigger than just one person, GNL.
Yeah, that right there, that right there is as big. In my mind, this symbol right here, I'm going to prophesy, is going to be as recognizable as the Wu-Tang logo. Mark my words. Mark my words. This symbol right here is going to become a symbol of African entrepreneurship at some point. But
is that what you're working on now?
That's what's keeping me busy and Sometimes I don't sleep for 3 days. Like, who needs sleep when you're building a dream, you know? It's that serious because I believe in it that much. But let me try to explain what it is. So when I say Zamba, that just tied into what I was thinking about calling Baboon Forest a little bit by coincidence. But this is the actual story. This is the actual beginning of the story. Did you watch Lion King?
Yes.
What was the character?
I don't know.
What was
if
the
there's
monkey?
anyone out there, if there's any Ugandan out there who hasn't watched Lion King, I'm sorry to tell you.
Big thrill tell about Lion King on one.
Yeah. I'm sure he's watched it like 800 times because he likes animations. And yeah, so Lion King, gone.
Yeah, so shout outs to my brother Big Trizzy. So if you watch Lion King, if you were to go back and watch it, I want you to observe the role of the monkey in the kingdom.
Yeah, he was like the wise one.
He was the wisest motherfucker. Sorry, I cuss sometimes. So he was the wisest motherfucker in that whole place. He made the kings and showed them to the kingdom. You get me? And the baboon, in its sense and its philosophy, it is the one that reminded Simba of how great he was. What I try to do with Baboon Forest and through my hip hop is to make kings and remind these kings of who they are, these queens of who they are. The baboon being the wisest animal in the forest, and it also ties into another African legend. Do you remember when Gipiri and Labongo? Do you remember the Gipiri and Labongo story?
Yeah.
All of my stuff ties around African wisdom. So in that story, when the other brother goes to the forest after the elephant runs off with a spear, right? He goes into this forest, this enchanted forest, and encounters a spirit, a god of sorts. And he pleads with the god that he needs to take back his brother's inheritance spear. Now, this being that was in the forest that gave him back the spear and also gave him beads and to take back to his household was in the form of a monkey in a forest.
Right.
Do you see how evolution, how our African stories, and how the Lion King, and how being the wisest person, that plays a role in making other people discover their greatness, that ties into the Baboon Forest becoming the very first Ugandan collective, hip-hop collective, and the very first independent record label. It's formed on the basis of cooperation and reminding people of their greatness or discovering their greatness.
Yeah. You mentioned Baboon Forest was to remind kings and queens who they are.
Yes.
Did you ever have a female in BFE?
Oh, so the only person who has ever been in BFE, who wasn't, so Keiko was with us for a while in BFE, right? There were people who were affiliated to Baboon Forest, but were never fully signed. So there was Nava Gray, who was a singer, was never signed, but was affiliated with Baboon Forest. We did all our vocals together. She sang some backgrounds, sang on choruses, and did all these other things. We did shows together for a long time. And then there was Keiko, but Keiko came in during the time when she had broken away from Shadrach, and she was waiting for her next move, such that we were like, okay, we can offer management services to you for a while in your transition time. And it was after that, after being managed by us and Just Jose, that she got the Sony deal. So those were the only females there. But in talking about reminding, we need to do more, right?
You know, I stay representing for the females and
representing for the females all across the world. Yo,
as a fancy, I always feel like we're in hip hop. We're always left behind in a way. We're always left behind. You kind of have to like pull up your own self for what you want. And I thought things would have changed now. because I saw more femmes getting on the scene after I had kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
But the other day I was talking to a rising femc called Star, and she had come into the studio to record, and she basically is asking like, oh, verse is okay, and and I'm like, oh, let me listen. But you've come to record. How did you think of coming to record here? And she's like, oh, I'm being mentored by Rionga. So you find that most of the femmes are still being mentored by male rappers.
Yes,
so to speak.
yes.
And obviously that's a question on our end as the old femmes to kind of pull up the others. But it will only be a few of those, of the male MCs who take the time to pull up
female MCs. You're very, very right. You're very, very right. And I have a comment about that. So when you look at iconic names in hip hop, like Queen Latifah, people forget how iconic she is. And whatever colonizers came. So our history is not just these 50 years that you see, 50 something years that you see. We're talking about 5,000 or 10,000 years of history. But I don't know why people don't look far back enough when they're talking about our history. They don't know that we invented paper, and we invented art, and we invented language, and all these beautiful things. So Queen Latifah was one of also those Afrocentric artists. And Queen Latifah is a legend. UNITY, that's for unity. So people like Queen Latifah remind you of greatness, of when it's done well. People like Lauryn Hill redefined the whole game. Lauryn Hill used Ngakuba Prazne Wyclef Chiboko on every track. On every track she had the best verse. Every time they were in the Fugees, she had the best verse, period.
So, hold on. Is it that the male MCs are threatened?
No, it's not a thing of threat. Actually, for me, I think I should say I always resisted signing female MCs because Baboon Forest energy is really intense. Like, we've been in recording sessions where it almost became a fight when you came to record the song. It became something about me and Trio talking about African history and talking about galaxies and sci-fi movies instead of recording songs. So it's really a Baboon Forest set is really intense. And somehow I didn't know if there were some females who were tough enough to take it. But the beauty of my misconception in the very beginnings, but the beauty of it all is that we used to fight, and then the next day actually 10 minutes after, we're dropping verses in the studio, or we're going to a show. You get me? So the brotherhood was always there because families always have that competitive energy. I remember sometimes Big Trill Omonji would first wait for me to lay a verse before they would lay theirs. Because they know shit is gonna be fire. You get me? Yeah. So
people like you go in first, Ninjaness, you do the verse first.
But I'm reviving Baboon Forest, and I'm calling this the second chapter of Baboon Forest. Likely, most probably, we are going to do better things and learn even from our experiences. Include and make it more inclusive of female MCs. There's a lot of power in female MCs. And basically, I don't want to only do things that I've done before. I'm one of those artists who is bored by monotony. I could have had so many hits. Yeah. I could have had so many hits if replicating the formula worked for me. I feel like it just doesn't sit well with me, but other people do that. Yeah, it's bad for business, because for business people just need to paint stop signs. While you want to paint masterpieces, there's a difference between those two approaches to art.
Now that you actually talked about tracks, that me one of the want to ask you, what was your first song that you wrote? The first song that you wrote that never made it to radio, because there's always that one track, right, that doesn't make it to radio.
Yeah.
And then the first song you wrote that actually became a radio hit.
I
Because
have.
you know, some people on here are like, oh, I've always heard about GNL. I know he has Story Lupa. I know he has Soda Jindale. I know he has Namagwatula. I know he has.
Basically, too many hits, too many hits, too many hits to mention.
Exactly, but who is GNL? So we already did that part. How did BFE come about? We already did that part. But what was his first song? Let me first go back to his journey, and see, was he always this good? So tell us, what was the first song? The one that didn't make it radio, and the one.
So after university, let me tell you the story. After university, I went through a period where I suffered for my art. There's a period where every artist goes through. If you're committed to the ideas that you want, for me, I can go on suffering if I believe in an idea. I can go on, and many people can tell me no, but as long as I've convinced myself it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So after university,
of struggling artist comes from.
oh, there's always a struggling artist. There's always struggling artists. Every good artist struggles for their art. So after university, I was offered a job because I was one of the best students in my class, in my year. So I was just offered a job to be the environmental officer, deputy environmental officer of Mobende. I told my parents, I'm not going to go to a place where mosquitoes have teeth. I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I had read a book. I had read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And that book gave me a lot of ammo and rebuttals for anything my parents had to say. Basically, at the risk of being braggant, I became a lot smarter in the newer times than their experiences of the old world. So they had old answers, but the world that I was in was asking me new questions. You get me? So I told my dad, I'm not going to go to a regular job. I'm going to become an artist. Family meeting, uncles, clan, and everything. But because I was so stubborn and I knew what exactly I wanted to do, I'd already got the idea for Baboon Forest. So I was telling them about my vision, and they were like, yeah. And because my mom began plaiting my hair from the time I was a kid, so the pressure was put on her. So that all became a thing. So in that meeting, I told
I remember the same. I actually tell a lot of TV presenters and radio presenters now. I'm like, you guys are so time where that is cool.
Oh yeah.
Because oh my god.
Oh yeah, we had to fight for that.
What? People who go into that field, all they do is drink and party, and they
to digress a little bit, we have to do activism to jewo busiru n'obugwagwa that used to exist in classifying. Some people think that because they sit in a small cubicle, that it makes them better than any artist out there. There are artists who are educated, who go into this profession because they see the potential that it has to create solutions for the whole place. So there needs to be, for the whole country. So there needs to be mutual respect all across the board. This is no longer, this is no longer that. We are beyond that. The society has evolved beyond that. It has evolved a lot. And actually that kind of behavior evolved because the king's councilmen became jealous of the musicians, because the musicians had held a lot of power and sway for the king. So ne batandika okuva ku manga abadongo baba keepingira side zeeyo Ochitegera,
Yeah.
babavuma kunywa mwenge, but these people were free. They were actually the innovative people that carried conversations forward, that cancelled the king, that basically tabled theories and also that inspired inventors, that archived our own stories.
Yeah.
So that stupidity of disrespecting creatives and disrespecting artists should stop it as soon as 10 years ago. It's something that I don't stand for,
I know,
actually.
and the thing is, exactly, and now it's manifesting different ways. It's
Yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah.
It's acceptable and it's fun, cool, but they never pay you your worth. For example, if you talk to so many TV presenters, radio presenters, artists, news anchors,
it all ties into that philosophy of Mudongo. It ties into that philosophy of Mudongo. Even when you're marrying somebody's daughter, bagamba agenda kuwasa DJ, agenda kuwasa Mudongo, not knowing. And this is what I was telling. This is exactly what I told my parents. This is what I told my parents because I had to battle that. That was inculcated into them for a very long time. So to fight that perception that they had in their minds of artists, I had to tell them, Dad, we are poor. I told them, we live in a ghetto right now. We live in a ghetto of Kawempe. Do you want me to perpetuate the same thing that you're going through tinagenza okukenga kumacha, mvuge gali waninye taxi ndio kengende ku mulimu, or do you want to say something better for me? Nangamba, but you have to go do school and then you do this or a masters. I was like, hell no. How many professors do I know from my own university where their tenure ends, and they have never built a house? Then I was like, now riddle me this. Riddle me this. How much money does Michael Jordan have? I Googled for them and I was like, it's $1 billion. How many professors do you know have $1 billion? And I told him, think about all the musicians. California, the place where I'm at right now, is the richest state in America. What do they sell? Technology. They sell music and entertainment. Steve Jobs, the richest company in the world, is the richest because it managed to combine technology and sell music. The whole company hinges upon music because people are able to store music. The computer is made fancy because people wanted better ways to play music and play the art. So they shouldn't disrespect the art. It's very shallow, it's very stupid. Sorry for my harsh words, but this is how I express myself about some things. But I find it really inane and insane and stupid when people disrespect creatives who inspire societies.
Yeah, I think it's an important conversation to have because, okay, like I said, we shifted from that mindset. But now, I think we're best to where creatives generally need to be paid their worth. And yes, now you acknowledge that this time what we're doing.
Nobody's going to pay you your worth. Nobody's going to pay you your worth. Nobody's going to pay you the money you want. You have to demand it. You have to tell them.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Obviously, because we have now reached a point where the creative industry is acceptable, we need to be confident in our talent and demand, right? But when we demand, we need the people on the other side to recognize the value.
They will
just say you respect my art.
They will never. Sister, they will not break it. Let me break it up to you. Let me break down for you. They will not give it to you just like that. It's just like the African American. It's just like the African Americans fighting in America and marching and doing all this work. They're putting in all this work. That comes from pain. That comes from sacrifice. They know how much they are worth. They are wondering why they are being disrespected. It's the same thing when it comes to art. The corporate people will always exploit the art. They will never value it to pay you what you're worth. But it's up to us to create systems where you have a manager, you have a publicist, you build value so that the product is high quality. And then you tell them how much that is worth, if they want to attach their brand to it. So it's up to us to build the systems and then demand for more. But mbu them in their own hearts, basalewo, never. That's a myth. And I'm telling you this from 10 years of experience with the industry and dealing with people in Uganda and dealing with people in Los Angeles. Somebody's agent is the one who says, my dude says he will read your script for $1 million. My agent, my artist says, I'll let him read your script if you promise him a deal A, B, C, and D, and then you yourself who is creating that project, know your call about if it's worth it having that person bring those numbers and eyeballs to your business. Basically, we are conduits for business. That's what we do. We are just connecting manufacturers to the customers. We have the power. And I know this is a very long discussion, but part of what I'm trying to do right now is make sure that entertainment creates opportunities for our people, for our generation. Looking at the younger people, the young people in Uganda, we are the youngest population in the world, if not the second youngest population in the world. There are really no opportunities for people in so many other sectors, yet all of us consume and love entertainment. We party like hell. We love the beat, we love the music, we love the gossip around it, we love the food, we love the entertainment, we love the culture. So this whole system, after learning from the Western world, what I'm trying to do is build the bridge that makes sure that what is over there can be marketed over here, and that it can have its own value, so that the people over here want what is over there. You get me? So there are so many opportunities for us to create. The biggest challenge that I'm finding in doing that is it's very hard to find the right people to work with. You have no idea. So many people want jobs. Part of your company. How are you going to contribute positively to the vision that I'm building? I just listened to your songs. I love that. I need you to do more. Are you going to tell me better ways to market my merchandise? Are you going to help me organize better events? Are you going to be managing kids? Are you going to be teaching them hip hop? What are you going to do to be part of this establishment?
So basically, you're saying that as a creative, as a person who appreciates creativity, you should also be willing to put in the work and show your value. Either way,
most definitely.
Come in and say, I want to do this, I want to do this, and yet you don't have like a strategy. Because I think one thing creatives have is that if I have the talent, if I can sing, if I can rap, or if I can act, I should be able to get the jobs. Not realizing that it needs to be like a whole strategy. There needs to be a whole.
Sorry, let me cut you off short from right there. So let me first finish up with the other point. The other point I wanted to make is that GNL fans deserve better. Baboon Forest fans, the family and the tribe, deserve better entertainment, right? So the people that I'm looking for are the people that are going to create that value for my fans, that value for the people that we want to deliver to. That said, in Los Angeles, which is the mecca of entertainment, I hate to always refer to Hollywood and Los Angeles, but it's where I've been living for the past 5 years. When I first got over there, I realized, a friend of mine told me, he's a producer, a film producer, he told me, oh, in this town, talent is as cheap as table salt. You get me? That if you're looking for talented people, because you know why I was telling him that? Because there was a guy on the entrance of the restaurant, right? Who was playing very beautiful music. Ngogamba banange. Ono muganda wa John Legend over storage. What am I missing over here? What aren't I seeing?
Yeah.
But this dude, people basulamu just the change, coins, not even the dollar, but the cents, the quarters, the basulamu bucket. And this dude was insanely talented. Then I was like, is there something I'm missing over here? Why isn't this dude signed? Why doesn't he have a deal? Why is he one of the biggest artists in the world? It's like, oh, in this city, talent is as cheap as table salt. What else can you fucking do? You get me? That's the question that we should pose to our Ugandan counterparts as well. That in Hollywood, there are people who can sing, dance, act, write scripts, manage companies, market them, and do all of that. And those are the people who come through and like, I was a dancer, I did ballet, but I can also dance hip hop. I also did a little bit of acting. I also did I need this job. The advert that you're making, It's not even a speaking role, but a person is giving you this wealth of a profile of what they have been doing for the last 10, 15 years. And you're like, dude, you're overqualified. But then you get to realize that that's the pattern. There are about 1,000 people like that. And then you are spoiled for who to choose. But you choose the one that is the most prepared, that understood and read upon what you're trying to do. That makes your work much easier, and often with a friendly face. You take it. So sometimes that's what we need. That's what we need to communicate to our friends. Talent alone does not cut it. You being talented alone does not cut it. Usually, when my criteria for signing people is, I don't sign somebody off the bat just because their rhymes are good. I have a meal with, even Trill will tell you, I have a meal with everybody that I sign. When I first called Trill lost when I signed Trill, he lost the battle. He was number 3, you were number 2. The person who won was somebody different. But there was something about him that I told him, give me your number, I'll give you a call. So I called him after a few days, we had a meal. But it's after you get to know the person and whether to see if your investment in them is worth it. There's so many people who are talented who are hard to work with. A headache. So you don't want a headache. You want to create with people who want to be there. You want to create with people who really want to do this. You want to create people who want to contribute to the society positively. You're not just going to work with somebody because they are talented. You
I'm
get
going
me?
to cut you off there because I think we're running out of time. We've actually been at this for 1 hour.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to get into the final part of this, which is basically Dear Hip Hop.
Oh yes. Let's talk about
One thing
hip
I've
hop.
learned is that if you're going to interview GNL, just be ready to go off script.
Oh yeah. No, I'm never a structured person. I'm never on the script.
Like Kabozi is just too juicy. It takes a whole life of its own, and I'm really glad that this happened because we've been able to touch on, I think, things which are very important. I know a lot of artists out there who could use that advice.
Yes.
Because they need to make some moves, but don't know how to make some moves, and they're wondering why they're not making cuts because I'm talent. And so many of the other things we've talked about, the importance of reading, the importance, knowing who you are, and I think those are really great. But I really wanted to get into the song because I think it passed a lot of people by, and yet this song summarizes G's journey, G's music journey. Like if you listen to it, it starts from the beginning to the end. And guess what? You know what's so interesting is I think we're not the only ones who have enjoyed Kabozi, because I have Timothy Code saying, we want part 2.
Yeah. So basically, sorry, I cut people off a lot. I'm never on the script. I never stick to the script. I'm becoming a director instead of becoming more of an actor, because I love doing my own shit off the script. I'm like Quentin Tarantino when it comes to this shit. So you asked me a question before.
Let me ask, are music studios in LA open in the age of Corona?
I don't know. But the people that I've been working with, there are so many people working. The people who own their own studios. My producer is also still working, but we're not physically in the same place. I have a microphone. I have a microphone at home. We work on something. I send him the vocals. He mixes and does whatever he does.
Okay.
So actually, speaking of Dear Hip Hop, I did Dear Hip Hop during quarantine over here, and then I sent it back to Baru. But the process began in Kampala because I went to Baru's studio, and it's like, I want you to give me a verse on my album. I was like, okay, fine. But because before I work with anyone, I want to first get to know those people. So I first said, okay, I have an interview over this other place, that side of Ntinda. So after that, I want to drop by your studio. So I wanted to know who Baru was. I never really interacted with him, but we played a few songs and he took me through songs. And I'm like, play me some beats that you think I would like. So he played me those beats and I was like, that's not the shit I want to do. Then all of a sudden he played me this beat and I was like, he's like, this is kind of old school. I'm like, hold on. play that beat again. So he
Now
plays.
you have my attention.
He had my attention because this beat, I chose it because it had an old school boom bap beat, right?
Yeah.
I chose it because it was an opportunity, or it is an opportunity to archive history. Nobody has ever done a song like this. Nobody has ever archived this story. People talk about it, but nobody ever archived it. And also, I want to remind people of the beauty of lyricism. What was that?
Yeah, but also archive it from the perspective of someone who was actually there.
It's,
Because I think I've had, to be fair, I've had, for example, I've had like Nelly said, there are a few other rappers I've had
yeah,
who archive based on the people they grew up listening to, who finally led them to the journey that they're at.
yes, yes.
So that history there, but then having it from someone who was there in the thing.
Yes, yeah.
And
Kasangwawe.
Exactly. And
Some
explaining
Kasangwawe
it,
shit.
and explaining it in the feeling, in the lyricism, with the love. Because I watched an interview on your channel where you were talking about how hip hop to you is the perfect woman and you love her as that.
Yeah.
You know? There are probably like a number of people that probably say the same thing. Music, hip hop, but don't feel in love with it to that extent.
Do you know one thing I pride myself on is that sometimes I start things and I start trends and I see them happen, and it's okay for me even if I don't take the credit for it, but as long as I know I started it, it gives me some kind of satisfaction to see that you started something and now everybody is doing it. You're very right in saying there's so many archivers of history in Uganda. I want to big up anybody who is part of the hip hop community in Uganda. I'm going to prophesy again. I'm going to say that hip hop in Uganda is going to become the strongest force, and it's going to become the hope for the nation. And it's going to become what makes Uganda realize the dream, that makes Uganda's dream a reality. And why do I say that? It's because I'm seeing the trends that we are starting and the structures that we have. I'm realizing the power that we have. I've experimented with this power before because I'm one of the reasons President Museveni rapped "You Have Another Rap," because we were performing at the State House. We inspired that. I've seen the power of hip hop being transformative in so many places of the world. So you have Bobby Wine doing his reggae raga thing, which is really dope. But that reggae raga thing also has the same philosophy as hip hop, being a people thing, being about expression, being about society, about working together. Those are the messages that we want to portray. That we want to portray to the people. Above all, if people are meant to take away anything from this, hip hop is about togetherness. It's about rescuing the spirit of our country. Through hip hop, we can deal away with negativity, a lot of negativity. One of the things that saddens me is that in Uganda, even with all the beautiful things that we have, we still have a few elements in the industry, in the creative industry, that are so vile, right? That they actually gain pleasure from seeing other people suffer. The other thing that I see in our industry that most definitely. The other thing that I see in our industry is that we don't give people their flowers while they're still alive. I'm happy. I'm glad that hip hop appreciates me and gives me love. I love that and I give it back. And I'm never on this pedestal of I'm better than anybody. I say that shit on the track. I'll diss you on the track. I'll talk about how great I am, and I'll make you jealous, and you'll wish you were me. That will be on a hip hop song. But when it comes down to us relating as humans, I want you to know that when we are practicing that form of hip hop, it's all about brotherhood, it's all about sisterhood, it's all about helping each other out to become the best people that we can be, so we can all achieve that greatness of no limit. You get me? So it's a very long discussion. I talked, so to jump into what Dear Hip Hop is.
People are demanding for parts, so I'm going to let you wrap up with Dear Hip Hop, talk about
Oh yeah,
I discussion again.
Yeah, I think we have been. I think we have been on. I think we have been on for an hour and 4 minutes. But just to but just to give people a brief intro into breaking down what dear hip hop is, and I'll do it with the lyrics, right? I'll do it with the lyrics here. So Baboon Forest Entertainment, and I'm like, yeah, yes, yeah, be swahili lines it is straight. Who am I describing? I'm describing the woman that is hip hop, right? When I first admired hip hop, I first saw the beauty that in her natural beauty is how I saw hip hop. It is a very African. It's a very African experience. It's a very African experience. What was that? I didn't get it.
I'm saying, I think the one thing you didn't realize.
Yeah.
Is that your idea of beauty is what you saw. So remember now what you're in Swahili.
Hey, nange nali nebi Swahili. Ochitegera.
So that was your idea. Beauty. So
yeah. But you know, this could become a whole lecture, this could become a whole discussion, because even when we're discussing about what hip hop is and the idea of self and the idea of beauty that African women should have, just in that very statement alone, I'm telling you that a natural woman in her natural state, without bleaching, in her natural form is how I found her and fell in love with her. That means it's authentic from the go. You get me? And I'm talking about, Namsanga Mumaka was 78. I wasn't born in 78. I'm not that old. But I'm saying 78 because I'm saying 78 because that's when the first verses of hip hop were ever recorded. And I'm saying that's when I first heard of hip hop. You get me? And then she says, and I say, I've never seen a girl with that beautiful figure 8, right? I relate so much with the figure 8 nowadays because it represents infinity, greatness, no limits, infinity, Nsimbi, infinity. And let's talk about Juza figure 8. So Oku Juza figure 8, to a normal person who's just looking at the lyric, it's just on the surface. Oh, I'm one of the figure 8. But to me, it's the sign of infinity. But just a kuside got. It's a sign of infinity. So Juza figure 8. What's the next lyric over there? This is going to become so much longer because I'm breaking down every word. Me as a man, I'm now beginning to talk about my experience. I love women with butts. You get me? I love that. Now, because hip hop knew that he loves women with butts. Bait, the word that I use called bait, for the people who are not so well versed with Kazungu, bait, chebateka kudobo, when you want to trap a fish, it's what you put on the hook. You get me? Nti ebina liali dene yali bait. What else? Oh, naso kana ngamba ntino 2. Yeah, naso kana ngamba muno 2 times 8. What was that?
I'm saying there are people on here who are literally completing the lyrics for me.
Oh wow, I love you guys. I love you Baboon Forest people. I love all my GNL fans. I love all my hip hop fans. This song is not for people about TV and radio. This song is for the hip hop fans who feel their thirst has not been filled for a long time. You get me? There's music which is commercial, there's music that rappers have made before, but there's very few elements of people that are dropping gems that are not. I don't care if this song doesn't play on radio or TV. I honestly don't. I created this song from a very honest. I sat down with myself and had an honest conversation with myself. Then I looked at all the things that hip hop had done for me. Then I was like, I need to dedicate this song to this woman that has made me who I am, because she deserves that.
Yeah.
You get me? So she told me 2 times 8 in that hip hop sense of 2 times 8. Kind of what you are kabi or 2 times 8 is 16 bars. If you're a rapper, if you're an MC, what you mean verse here hip hop we better get you the better line 16 bars. You get me? You're just gonna have 2 times 8. As in, you must buzz. you must drop some buzz for me. And that means she's trying to check how good I am. You get me? So you asked me, the next line is for your question where you asked me, what were your first songs that didn't become popular? So this is the story. This is where I tell the story. I'm like, Raim je nasoko kukuba na jizimula. Kuzimula is to roll your eyes, right? So the very first 2 songs I recorded, I remember the first song I recorded, by then I was calling myself Zeus Theodore. That was my first rap name. Zeus, like the Greek god, like Theodore the traveler. And the very first song I recorded it at GK's studio in Naguru with the rapper, some producers who were twins. There were twins, and one of them passed away, Michael and Martin, who were some hobbies of mine. So they had started production, and I went over there. Papito was recording, and Clear Cut was recording from over there. GK was a friend of hip hop, and I knew him for like the longest. Guys called Abenganda were already doing their thing from over there, just freestyling. So I had always been freestyling, but I'd never recorded. So on the very first time I recorded 2 songs. I will not tell you the title because I reserve those things for myself. But when I had the songs, when I went back home after they were mastered and recorded, I listened to them through my computer. Then I went back to the studio the very next day. I broke the CDs, I deleted the files, and that was the end of those songs.
So they've never been had.
Those songs, but here's the story. Here's how the story gets more dope. So recently, when I go back to Uganda, a fucking DJ called Ben is like, yo, GNL, I have a surprise for you. I'm like, what is it? I've known this guy for the longest. So he's like, I got a song for you. I'm like, he's going to play this, probably some verse of a song that I didn't put out or whatever, like usual, like some Baboon Forest verses. So this dude plays me one of those songs that I deleted and broke the CDs that I never wanted the world to hear. So he plays me this.
How did you get a hold of?
I have no idea. It's a mystery to me. It's a mystery to me because he had to have been a thief, or somebody from that studio had already began distributing the song. The song was not bad, but I did not feel like it was true to me.
At the quality, yeah.
The quality was good. My mom gave me my very first money to record. because I'd been because I'd been so far away I ran away from home because, like I told you, me and my parents separated for a while because after university, nalisagala kukola anything and jobs were really scarce. I went through a very, very hard time where I had no money. I was broke. I didn't have where to sleep. It wasn't that I didn't have a home. It wasn't that I didn't have sisters who were already employed. But my family told everybody, don't give him any money so that he can come back home and all begin working for himself. I was like, me, with my stubbornness and the stubbornness of my dreams, I believe in the beauty of my dreams. I would rather suffer and go through the pain. Now, that pain that I went through is the starvation, what they call the starving artist era. Is that time when you have nothing. You're staying at people's places. You're staying longer in the clubs, not because you want to be there, but because you really have nowhere to go. So I stayed at the university for the longest time. They switched off power, they call it muffering. In Mitchell, we used to call it muffering, where you fluke into the university and then you sleep and then you go and do your business. But in the middle of all that, I met some really, really, really special people. My advantage was that I was always smart and I always dressed well. I was always clean and smart. So whenever we began sparking conversations with people, they would never judge me on how I dressed. I made sure that I combated that. That's a tip for you as an artist. Always look your best in your presentation so you don't give people that implicit bias that so I began my own company, my own record label, Baboon Forest.
Trump, sort of in that kind of gut reaction he has of, oh my God, I've been portrayed as weak,
hold
so
on.
I be super strong. Actually, don't
Yeah.
look like strength to most.
It keeps on it keeps on jumping back. I don't know why it keeps on jumping back.
I think it's like a news in 3 minutes.
Yeah. I need to figure out its timer. I need to figure out. So yeah, but I was telling you that through that I found my own company and I dived deeper into the business. I took time to study what hip hop was. I read as many magazines. I watched documentaries. I looked at people that I admired. I began designing clothes. I began modeling for Santa Anzo with her Arapapa models. So that gave me so many ways into the entertainment game before anybody even knew that I could actually spit. I was already working on a network that was going to make my game better. So me and my partner, who was Emron, we met at university. We started Baboon Forest Entertainment. Let me say, on a donut. This is going to be a story. On a donut. Yes.
You know what? I'm going to put we're gonna have part 2 next week for sure.
Yeah.
And we're going to pick it up from the donut story.
No, yeah. So this is where I'm going to tie it off right here. So when you're looking at the greatness of Baboon Forest, when we are being publicly traded at about $1 billion in the future, I'll tell the story that this whole conversation began. The whole company was founded from a donut, 2 pints of milk, and 2 zales. If you know what a zale is, if you don't know what a zale is, 2 zales. If you don't know what a zale is, go and discover. But for right now, we need to say bye. This is where I'm going to end the story. If there's a part 2, we'll continue the story. Thank you for the opportunity, man, for talking to my people.
I know I have to say you acquired the fan base and they seem like very loyal and dedicated fans. They follow everything you do. So
it's the army that's BFE. It's the army that's Baboon Forest.
I'm telling you, that you're saying BFE becomes a public traded company. We already have like a huge movement right there behind you. You stay being the GOAT. We have very few of those here in Uganda, so to speak, in hip hop. So much respect always to you and the art and the craft and the love for hip hop.
Thank you.
A part 2 next week, because this conversation was definitely far from over, and I've really picked up a lot talking just from talking to you. I mean, even if it had just been a discussion between me and you, I would have appreciated it.
Yeah.
But that wrap this up. You're going to wrap up with the verse from Dear Hip Hop, and then we say bye. Give it to them.
Shout outs to Baboon Forest Sweden, shout outs to Baboon Forest Los Angeles, Baboon Forest Dubai, Baboon Forest Kampala, Baboon Forest Rwanda, Baboon Forest Cape Town, and all the embassies that make sure that this empire stands firm and on its feet so that we accomplish our visions. Yalias Biswahili lines it is straight. It's like that. It's like next time we'll explain what this means. The Baboon Forest. Yeah. Memories mumpewo nga boomerang zikomawo ng'omwagalwa wange ng'awunya akawoowo nga Aaron ebbaawo twesikamu ne twejjawo first date ne hip hop twalya luwombo lwakaawo bwe nakola poem eyasooka yagamba waawo ne mulaga eggulu nga telescope ya Galileo Lugaflo yali awuma nga sumbusa eyakawo bw'oba okiwakana gwe genda obuuze ejjajjaawo ani yajjako akawuuwo n'awanika formula empya ku lubaawo Zamba ya agricultural architect w'ekimbeewo sajja ono yayawula aba hip hop mu kipeepeewo buli ssaawa obwongo bubeera budduka ng'akaweewo naye mwana GNL Zamba n'otulekawo mpulira katoli ne mangeremu akola duo n'oweewuwo ddamu tukuba sheziri annual Baboon Forest obasomere manual kubanga history classic style fantastic Zamba oyagala kala ya white olinga wa traffic konzo omwana muzungu naye omutima gwaba nilotic. We go together just like gin and tonic. Namugamba engeri gye njagalamu hip hop. N'agamba naye muleete mu buliri tukole manage twakubanga engeri gy'omu missing oyinza n'okwewa obutwa. Dear hip hop nze nkumissinga. Oh yeah. That's what's up. So that's the second verse of this song. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You've always been a very thoughtful person. You've always been a very lively person. Every time I think about you, I remember when we went to, I don't know what we were performing for, but I think it was an Airtel party, and they asked, I was a judge of something, I don't know what it was, I can't remember, but it was an MTN party, and they were like, okay, who can rap? Who can do a rap over here? Like there's something they're giving out. And then you held the microphone. I think they thought it was just going to be this kind of ABC type of rapping. And then you held down an Eve beat because it was Eve. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I was like, God damn, she can really, really rapidly rap. You get me? Like we call it the Baboon Forest. You can rapidly, really
No, but
rap. Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to remind you of in this life was something that I know you probably never remember. But when I was on club, I think it was 2002. No, 2003. I was on Teens Club, and they approached us and wanted us to do a project for GTZ, which was a hip hop canvas.
Oh my God!
And we had to come up with a song, and this is 2003. So mind you, I'm like 13.
Wow!
We had to come up with a song. Our producer then was called Jacinta. It was me, Flavia, and another girl called Rico. We come into No End. Obviously, you have.
Oh my God! Oh my fucking. Oh shit!
And we find you guys standing there at the entrance, all waiting to lay your verses for the hip hop canvas track.
Oh my God!
It was Tom, it was Navio, Papito, and Abalan.
You're blowing my mind right now.
And I was like, gee, we've never remembered this. We've never even put two and two together. But we go in, we do the verse, I do rap on my part, and I get out and I'm like, you mean we're doing this project? We're on the same project with all these legendary rappers who I used to see coming in and out of studio for Jam Agenda, because Jam Agenda was bit after Teens Club.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, this is definitely be a big project. And next thing I see the hip hop canvas song come out, all you guys on there. And yeah, I'm like,
wow. Yo, that right there is the beauty of why we do this shit. That very project right there is how I began. Is how I began discovering who I was as and what I decided crafting what I wanted my album to sound like when we began doing that project right there. Now on that project, I didn't come in as a rapper. I was there to just film. I just came with a camcorder to film my guys freestyling. Because Lyrical G was the rapper, there was now Papito and all these other people. I wasn't really close with Clear Cut by then, but this was the interior side of Lumix, Lyrical G, and all of them, and I was much closer with them. So that's when both camps finally, I think, met. I mean, two hoods, two camps, whatever, Urban Life, Clear Cut. So it was in the very, very beginnings. There was Young Nick as well. Young Nick.
Yeah.
I remember. What was that?
I don't know if MSB was also on that
project. Yeah, MSB was on. MSB was a very, very, very. Oh my God! So she just jumped off. MSB was a very, very, very talented artist. This has gone on for so long. I've been connecting with Ninja C. Time has come for us to say bye. Hopefully you'll see more of this interview in a part 2, or we'll have some other time that we're going to connect and talk about issues. Besides that, I need to say bye from here. Thank you for the guys supporting hip-hop music, who are streaming my song Dear Hip Hop. There's a lot to discuss, a lot of history to archive. Thank you for tuning in. It's your boy GNL Zamba. Till next time, Baboon Forest, Zambaland. Go to Spotify, go to YouTube, go to iTunes, typing GNL Zamba. You're going to see my channel, my channels, and you'll see this picture right here. You see a picture right here that represents that represents the album, and that represents the artwork for the album. You see that picture over there? It's going to be on all my platforms. And yeah, stream, share, because we're here to bring back life into the game. We're here to bring back more pride, more pride, so that Ugandans can feel proud of where they are from. We need to represent our people. We need to represent our arts. I thank you so much for the opportunity, for making me great, Zamba the Great, because it's your support that makes me the most amazing dope artist. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Till next time, bagala nyo nyo nyo. I'm going to read through all of these comments, and I'm going to try to answer each and every comment. I love all of you. Peace and love. Your boy Zamba. One. Namutima. Bye bye, guys. You're the last ones that I'm switching off. So this was YouTube. I was on Facebook, and I was also having a conversation on Instagram with Ninjaness. Your boy GNL Zamba, Baboon Forest Entertainment, Uganda ya fene mbili wano tedi alo later.